Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rich. Hey, if you're new to the channel and you like what you see, hit the like button or subscribe to my channel to get other updates that I might be doing. So today I got a new project. It wasn't a project, well, I had planned to do it in due time, but unfortunately my neighbor hit my mailbox. So it knocked the mailbox off of the post and kind of uh, basically destroyed the mailbox. They were kind enough to replace it for me, so they got me a new mailbox, and I need to attach that new mailbox to the post. So as you can see, this is the mailbox, and the lid got knocked off. And as I was getting ready to install the new one, I noticed that this was all rotten and in pretty bad shape, and so the post itself that was underground is rotting away. So we're gonna go ahead and completely just redo it all. So I've got a lot of scrap pieces of wood from previous jobs that I think that we can use to develop a new mailbox post. I'm trying to do it on the cheap because I have all these pieces and parts, and I think that we can develop something pretty nice from it. So let's go ahead and get to it. So rather than making the cuts and sneaking up on the right width that I needed with the actual board and potentially making a mistake, I wanted to use a couple of scrap pieces of wood to get the distance that I need for the table saw to be able to get nice flush banding around the post. Initially I had it at 4.5, but I actually needed to reduce it down to 4.25, and that gives me just nice tight fitment between the board and the post itself. So I've got my scrap template that I used for the plywood risers. So now I can use this for my top cap as a template as well. So that way I know exactly where I need to cut these. I can just make a mark. So with these pieces that are going to be surrounding the post, as the water, when it rains, as the water comes down, it's gonna want to travel underneath here. So I want to put a little bit of a drip edge. I just have this raised up just a little bit over 1/8 of an inch, and then just running this outer edge so that there's a little drip edge on these outer surrounds. So here's the little dado that I cut in there, and it's just maybe 1/4 of an inch deep, but it'll allow for the water to come in and drip off of that edge so that it doesn't continue to penetrate the rest of the wood and the rest of the post. So this piece here is a leftover scrap that I had from my kids' playground. It's a complete solid 8-foot piece that I'm going to go ahead and cut down to 6 foot. And if I don't have enough, which I don't think I will because it's just going to leave me 2 foot over here, I've got another piece that is a 36-inch piece of 4x4 that I can cut down for the arm of the mailbox post. Okay, so I've made a line right here so that I know how wide this, I got to notch this so that it can fit into the post. And what I've done is I've adjusted my stop so that when this comes down, it'll give me 1 3/4 of an inch, which is half of this 4x4. So now I can just make a number of cuts here, and then I can knock it out with a hammer and a chisel. I can't get it all the way, I'm not getting deep enough on the end here because of the way the circular saw is. So I'm going to put a block to kind of space it out some. So now that I've got these, I can just kind of break them and then just pop them off and then chisel out the remainder. My original post had the arm start at 14 inches down from the top. So I'm going to do the same thing. I don't know if that's what I want in the end, but this will definitely give me enough length on the top if I want to add some decorative piece, or if I need to cut it down, I can. But for right now, I'm going to make a mark at 14 inches and then make my notches here so I can take out this U-shaped section to be able to attach the arm to the post. I forgot to film this. I didn't have the camera turned on, so I apologize for that. So at the point where the post comes up, I wanted to have a distance of 20 inches. So then I took a square and made a mark at 20 inches all the way around, so that I have a line that I can go ahead and cut to. And then I put it up against the miter saw at 22.5 degrees, and I just kept flipping it around. So I made a cut, and then I flip it, and then made a cut, and then flipped it, and made another cut, and flipped it, so that it's all on the line, and then it gets you a point at the end. So that's how it's going to be finished off for the arm. Okay, so I've got this piece of 2x8 pressure treated. It's just an old piece, but I got it cut off square here on this side, so I want to use the router to make my profile that I want to put, and I'm using a double Roman OG bit, and it's a 1/4 inch bit, to just make a profile, because this is going to be my cap for my mailbox post. I'm going to cut it to a 6.5 inch square. But I'm going to do these two sides first, because it's a whole lot easier to clamp a long board and kind of do the routing than having to route a small little square. If you can see that, that's a nice cut. So then I'll go ahead and cut it off, and then I'll do this other cut right here. So I finished the cap. I had to route the other side after I cut it off. I was losing light, so I had to end up using the spotlight to be able to see what I was doing. But I just wanted to give you a look at the completed piece now that I've got the OG complete all the way around. So now that I've got these boards cut down to the sizes that I need to begin assembling it. So I want to go ahead and assemble the pieces, and I'm using this 90-degree clamp to be able to keep it clamped up while I glue it. So I'm just going to be utilizing, I'm using Titebond 2, so it's an exterior glue. So I'm using that and a pin nailer, just some 3/4 inch pins, to keep it kind of connected while it's being glued up. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright, so now that we've got it spread out evenly across the joint, we can go ahead and set this into place. And set the other side into place. And just want to line it up. Now I want to clamp this side, and I don't have, the only way to clamp this one is to kind of take two clamps and kind of pinch them together, opposite directions, so we can do that. Now we can put a couple of nails in here. Alright, and just wipe off the excess glue. So now that we've got this kind of set up, we're going to let it dry for about a half hour to 45 minutes, and then I can pull it off and then glue up the other one. So yesterday I ran out of light as I was cutting this piece down, and I originally made it 6.5 inches squared, and I put it on the main post, and it just looks a little too bulky. It's too wide. I was originally thinking that would work, but I want to cut it down to give less of an overhang, because this is just really too large. So I'm thinking of taking it down by 1 inch to 5.5 inches and seeing what that looks like. And once I cut those down, I can reroute it. But I want to go ahead and cut it to 5.5 and kind of just set it on the post and see what it looks like. And if I need to cut it a little more, I can. So I think I'm going to take it down to 5 inches. Let's see what that gets me. I think that'll be just about what I want. So I think that looks a lot better. It's not as bulky looking from that angle. I'll have to do the routing, but I think that's going to look a lot better. So we're going to go with that. So let me get the router out and route those two other sides, and we can be done with this. I need to cut a board to mount the mailbox to the post. So need a flat piece of stock that is approximately 6 inches wide, because that is the depth that I need it to fit, so that the mailbox will fit down over top of this and you won't see this board, and you'll be able to screw into the sides of the mailbox, and it'll remain hidden from view. But it has to be about 6 inches wide, maybe just slightly a hair under 6 inches, and I need it to be at least 12 inches long. This is 16 inches, so I think this is probably sufficient. So I just need to rip it down to 6 inches wide. Okay, so I'm ready to put these two pieces together, and before I did, I wanted to go ahead and protect this inside. So I went ahead and primed and painted this. Just gave it one coat of paint, just enough to get it somewhat protected. So let's go ahead and get some glue and get it glued up. Okay, we'll let that dry and we'll come back to it once we're done, and we can begin filing and sanding it down to get it primed for installation. I've got the post here and I'm ready to put this decorative trim piece on it, and I need to locate it on the post. So I know that the hole that I've got dug right now is about 16.5 inches long. So I want to move it about a 1/2 inch up off of the ground so that it's not, sitting in the soil, because this is plywood. So 16.5 is here, so I know the bottom of it needs to be at about 17 inches. So we can go ahead and slide this thing on. Slide that on. Oh, it starts getting tighter as it goes down. We're just going to drill a couple of holes because I'm going to pre-drill this. So I'm using 2.5 inch galvanized screws, or not screws, galvanized nails to nail this into place. Okay, now that I got this casing put on, I can put the top cap piece, the trim piece, on there, and then we can close it up putting this piece on there. Let's go ahead and put some glue on this. Alright, now we can put some 2-inch brads in here to kind of secure it down while it's gluing up. Okay, now I'm going to put a little bit of caulking around these edges here, because as water runs down, I don't want it to get in behind here and start rotting from the inside out, so I want to go ahead and protect that. I'm barely tooling it. I'm not really pushing it down in there. I'm just trying to get it smoothed over. Because I want to leave it thick. So I got a couple of marks right here so I know where to line it up before I nail it into place. Alright, we're going to give this a coat of primer real fast and then let it dry. And then we can go ahead and start installing it, and I'll do the final coat when it's standing up. Okay, I'm ready to attach this arm to the post, so I need to pre-drill a couple of holes. I'm using self-tapping construction screws for this, but I do want to countersink it, so I'm just using this countersink bit to go ahead and start the holes this way. Just put a little bit of glue and some screws. I think we'll be good. Alright, these are 3-inch screws. They shouldn't punch through because this is 3.5, so we should be good. Alright, I'm using 1.5-inch construction screws and a little bit of glue. Alright, the last thing we need to do is go ahead and mark these holes so that we can drill them out. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and give it one more coat all over and let that dry overnight, and then we'll come back and I'll install the mailbox onto the post itself, and hopefully we'll be done. Not going to film painting, so it's basically you've seen it before. So in any case, we'll come back tomorrow and hopefully we'll wrap this up. Okay, it's the next day and this has had a chance to dry. And so we're ready to go ahead and install the mailbox to the post itself. So let's go ahead and get that taken care of and finish this project up. So I'm using 1.5-inch screws to get this job done. And we're just going to go ahead and put it on here and line it up with the holes that we already pre-drilled. Okay, so there's the finished product. So I think it looks pretty good. The only thing I need to do left is to maybe put some letters on the mailbox, and but I can do that on another day. So we got a pretty good mailbox post at this point, and I'm pretty pleased with it, and we spent $0 on this project, so that's always a positive. I was able to use up some of the scrap woods that I already have, so that was really good. Hopefully you like this, and if you like this design, you can maybe employ this with a project that you might be doing. So I will see you all in the next video. Thanks for watching, everybody.